When discussing the art of governance and the methods used to consolidate power, no phenomenon leaves the common masses more heartbroken than the sight of a monarch deposing or taking the lives of the very meritorious officials who once faced life and death alongside him. People often look to the heavens and lament that the ruler is an ungrateful and treacherous soul. They incessantly pose naive, morally weighted questions about whether those great ministers committed some grave error, or if their demise was an inevitable law of the world. Is it true that when the forest is depleted of prey, even the most legendary hunting dog must suffer the fate of being cast into the furnace to serve the master's feast? From the perspective of those who master the art of manipulation, morality is but a thin cloak concealing the cold mechanics of interest and power. This content will expose the cognitive traps that the elite often use to rule, while simultaneously dissecting the brutal laws behind the downfall of throne builders. The purpose is not to condemn the ways of the world, but to help sober minds recognize and avoid the recurring pitfalls of history. To understand a ruler's decision to unsheathe the sword, we must discard maudlin sentiments of gratitude. A newly established state always faces countless storms. During times of war and chaos, a ruler needs ministers with extraordinary political expediency, brilliant strategy, and the ability to win over the people's hearts. At this stage, the meritorious official serves as the sharpest blade, cutting through every obstacle on the path of conquest. However, once the throne is secure, the circumstances immediately reverse. The nature of a peaceful dynasty does not require aggressive disruption. It requires absolute submission and strict order. When external enemies have been swept away, the most dangerous weapon remaining is the one holding that very sword. An arrow only has pragmatic value when flying toward an enemy. When there is no longer a target, the presence of a poisoned arrow right inside the palace becomes a constant threat to the one sitting on the throne. An outstanding official is not eliminated because they have suddenly become evil or treacherous. They are purged simply because their historical function is complete, while their threatening power remains intact. Keeping an individual capable of summoning wind and rain right beside the shaky throne of the next generation is an extremely risky gamble. A monarch does not eliminate a meritorious official for past sins. They act to neutralize catastrophes that have a probability of occurring in the future. A wise ruler understands that preventing a disease by removing the pathogen is always better than waiting for it to break out. There is an immutable principle in politics distilled over thousands of years, stating that anyone who is the cause of another becoming powerful is seeking their own ruin. The greatness of a meritorious official is always proportional to the threat they impose on the sovereign. When a minister accumulates wealth, recruits soldiers, and uses their wits to elevate a lord to the pinnacle of power, that lord understands perfectly well that his throne was created by the intellect and strength of another. Ironically, both brilliant intellect and fierce strength are things that every ruling system must view with suspicion. The masses often believe that past loyalty is the strongest protective talisman. This is a fatal illusion. A pragmatic ruler knows that human nature is prone to change according to circumstances. Loyalty is not a fixed characteristic, but a fluid state governed by the balance of power. Yesterday, the officials submitted because they needed a banner to rally under. Today, when glory is firmly in hand, their ambition may swell alongside the cheers of the soldiers and the populace. A wise emperor looks at a powerful minister and sees an entity capable of overthrowing him. Even if that person harbors no ill intent, the existence of a second power center strong enough to change the dynasty is something the ruling system cannot tolerate. Great rulers never entrust the safety of the dynasty to the kindness or moral self-discipline of others. They establish security by completely stripping the opponent of the capacity to do harm. Eliminating the most influential figures is the final step to ensuring that absolute power is unified in a single hand. Removing a deeply influential figure cannot be done crudely. Blatant tyranny would incite outrage and cause panic within the bureaucracy. This is when the elite employ the darkest arts to achieve their goals with legitimacy. A wise ruler never soils his own imperial robe. They design sophisticated traps causing the victim to walk into the gates of death of their own accord, while manipulating the public into believing that the deposition is a true execution of justice. The first trick is the art of cultivating arrogance. The ruler does not strip power immediately, but instead bestows countless rewards, titles, and unprecedented privileges, pushing the general to a dizzying height. Under this intentional indulgence, the individual easily falls into an illusion of invincibility. They begin to act with conceit, overstepping boundaries, abandoning their vigilance, and offending many other factions in court. The monarch merely needs to sit back and smile, watching the official weave a noose from his own vanity. When the timing is ripe, the leader only needs to nod in approval of the accusations from the hundreds of enemies the official created himself. At this moment, the ruler appears not as a jealous rival, but resplendent in the aura of an enlightened monarch upholding the rule of law. The second trick is the strategy of divide and rule and isolation. A meritorious official is truly dangerous because of their extensive network. The ruling class will silently sever these octopus tentacles by promoting or transferring the official's most loyal subordinates to distant locations, while planting moles within the opponent's ranks. By granting favors to those beneath the official, the monarch creates internal division, causing those who once shared hardships to turn and suspect one another. A fierce beast, once its claws and teeth are pulled and it is locked in an invisible cage, is merely a helpless creature awaiting its sentence. The third trick is pushing the victim into an inevitable mistake. The ruler may assign impossible tasks or issue contradictory directives. To follow orders is to fail, and to adapt on one's own is to commit the crime of deceiving the monarch. No matter the outcome, the executor is guaranteed to be in the wrong. Minor errors are recorded, then molded and exaggerated through the propaganda system. This process quickly transforms a national hero into a power manipulator with treasonous intent. All efforts at justification become futile against the crushing gears of the state machinery. The crowd often uses the concept of moral justice to condemn the cruelty of the one on the high throne. But in the art of running a nation, justice must always serve the order of survival. Those who organize power are always deeply conscious of clearing the path for the future. A powerful founding king may have the capacity to control a pack of fierce raptors, but a naive succeeding generation absolutely cannot. Stripping power and eliminating the founding forces is a cold but most effective method to ensure the new dynasty does not become a puppet in the hands of powerful ministers. Rulers do not act out of personal hatred. They decide based on the probability of survival for an entire clan and the stability of a regime. Furthermore, we must recognize the incompatibility between fortune and extraordinary talent in times of peace. The meritorious official used their phenomenal ability to seize fortune and change the era amidst the flames of war. However, that very excellence disrupts the dull state of equilibrium that every stable state seeks to maintain. An organization that wants to hold power long-term will prioritize cogs that run smoothly, are obedient, and are easily replaceable, rather than possessing a giant engine that carries the risk of exploding at any moment. In summary, the phenomenon of throne builders being discarded is not the result of individual moral decay, but a physical law of power. The concept that when the rabbits are dead, the hounds are cooked, merely reflects the naked truth that a tool only has value as long as the problem still exists. The greatness of a minister becomes a legacy too heavy for a peacetime power system to bear. The most profound lesson drawn from history does not lie in grumbling about the world's ingratitude, for the indignation of the weak cannot save a life. The true lesson lies in understanding the boundaries of utility and the nature of the human heart. If you are an individual of exceptional talent serving a system, etch into your heart that your value exists only as long as the threat you were hired to solve remains. When the crisis has ended, your position also begins to waver.